Hey all, JTC here, and welcome back to another user-submitted gameplay review. This week's video is submitted by jtcLIVE, so thank you for submitting your video. And as you can see already by looking in the top left corner, we are already reviewing a different video from what we usually review. This is a true solo run, which is very different from your usual kind of run, specifically because you have to compensate for a lack of teammates. Vermintide is obviously designed to be played with 3 additional people. That's why there are disablers in the game, and specials, and armored, and blah, 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 blah. So when you are playing true solo, you have to have a very different mindset than what you would normally have when playing with the group, which we're going to talk about and, show examples of here. We are playing with what it looks like Sword and Dagger and Moonbow, which is what I saw, I think, which is very, very good. When you're playing true solo, you want to play, as meta as possible because you once more are trying to compensate for a lack of teammates. So meta is good. Strong weapons are very good, so very good build that he's running here. One thing that I'm going to say specifically about Against the Grain, I want to talk about this field while we're here. Currently, he is standing on top of that cart right here. And he's playing on Champion, so this really isn't too much of an issue on Champion. But on higher difficulties, this field can spawn a shit ton of enemies. A lot of armor, a lot of trash, a lot of berserkers, a lot of monks. And you definitely have the option to get special spammed here. So taking your time in this first area is very, very good, especially on higher difficulties. Because he's on Champion, he's not really going to run too much of an issue here because the spawn rate for Champion is a lot lower than the other difficulties, but you definitely want to kind of scope out this first area when you're trying to do this true solo, and look, stand up here and look at the field out in front of you to see what's going on, because as you can see right here, that's a scarecrow. That's not someone. There's a guy right here. There's a couple of guys right here. I don't think any of them are armored. There's nothing over here, and there's nothing over here from what I can see. So he's not going to have too much of an issue. Alternatively, what you could do is, I think I can go back and show because he grabbed the potion. What you could technically do is, instead of going up here and jumping off, you could instead go this way and jump onto this rock, because you can actually go on top of this rock, and you can, let me try that again. It will allow you to jump on the rock and then jump over this fence, and then you can hug the right side to try to avoid the rest of what's in this field. That is another option if you think there are too many things in that field for you to deal with, and you can just attempt to skip it all. That does become a problem, though, if there is a monster spawn or a patrol spawn and you pull it, because at that point you're forced to come back to this field, and at that point you're going to have a lot on you. So it is a risk kind of thing when you take that, but it's definitely an option for you that you can take. Yeah, there's not really too much in here to deal with, so this is not going to be an issue for him whatsoever. If this was Cataclysm or Legend, there would probably be a lot more armored units in here, and this field would have to take you'd have to take a very different approach to this field. I'm not really sure what he's running because I don't have a build, but I'm assuming he's going to be running Thornwake. Surprisingly enough, excuse me, the walls aren't as bad in true solo as with a group, because you don't really have a teammate to fuck over with the walls. So the walls actually can, be pretty good for you. Yeah, Blood Razor. But, oh, look at that. This is a mod, for those that don't know. Right here, this is a mod called True Solo Quality of Life Tweaks that allows you to see what specials or what disablers specifically spawn. So every single time a pack spawns, it'll say pack. Every single time an assassin spawns, it'll say ass. It's kind of funny that it just says ass exclamation point on the screen. If multiple of them spawn, you'll see, a pack and then ×2 or ×3 for however many are alive at the same time. I really highly recommend this mod if you want to do true solos, because it makes your life so much easier, and it takes away kind of that RNG aspect of, maybe the sound breaks. And you have no idea there's something coming because the sound breaks. He is doing a very good thing here by kind of backing up. There is a storm, obviously, so he doesn't really have an option. But it is a good idea in this situation to back up, especially when you don't know where a special is. I'm assuming he's playing with headphones, so he would have directional audio. but even if you do, but especially if you don't, backing up when you hear a special spawn, or specifically a disabler spawn, is always good in true solo to give yourself a little time, because you only have one chance. It's better to play it safe and lose a tiny bit of time than push forward into a special you didn't expect to be there and just die. This is a spawn for things, so it's always good to check. Technically, anything can spawn there. I would actually recommend against breaking that door right there. Because this is actually a really, really good kiting area. So, for example, if you go into this building and you get ambushed by a horde or a patrol and there's just too much for you to deal with, you can come back this way and then shut the door in their face, which would actually buy you a little bit of time to either switch to your ranged weapon, drink a potion, get a bomb ready. True solos, you definitely don't want to be breaking doors. I mean, this door right here, I don't know what I'm drawing. This door right here is not really too big of an issue because that's a dead-end door, so there's really no point to keep it up so you can break it if you want. But doors like this that lead to some kind of kiting path, you want to actually keep up when you're playing true solo, because that 1 to 1.5 seconds that you buy with that door can actually be the difference between life and death sometimes. So I would have recommend not breaking that door, just actually opening it. Same thing, I would recommend not breaking that door. I would recommend breaking none of these doors, honestly. Don't break any of the doors in here, and don't break this little board thing, because those are all like little barricades between you and the swarms of chaos and Skaven that can actually buy you some time. And whenever you destroy them yourself, you remove some of those barricades. Good ult. I was going to say you want to ult that Chaos Warrior to get him down. I think that's Radiant Inheritance. Honestly, I would recommend against running Radiant Inheritance when you're doing true solo, and I would recommend Incandescence instead. The extra... Ooh, I think you got stuck right there. If you got to be... Okay, actually, let me go back and comment on what just happened. Right here, an enemy kind of walked through him. It kind of phased through him, Handmaiden style, and got stuck behind him. You definitely want to be weaving more pushes into your attack patterns, because as I saw right here, you weren't really pushing too much. You pushed a couple of times, but for the most part, you're just using left click spam. That kind of... Oh, no. Sorry. I think this guy got him stuck right here. So you definitely want to be kind of flicking your mouse more to get things across your screen, because there is some kind of weird momentum in Vermintide. It's... how do I explain this? I guess I'll explain it in the sense of two-handed hammer, since that's the easiest that I feel you can do it. So assume if you have two-handed hammer, and you charge a heavy attack, and you attempt to swing horizontally, your attack range is going to be somewhere like right here. Everything within this attack range is going to be hit by your hammer swing. However, if you quickly flick your mouse to the left, or to the right, honestly, any direction, that range gets extended slightly. It'll get extended, and you'll hit more if you flick your mouse. This goes for anything with some kind of horizontal arc. So if you flick your mouse while you're trying to do these horizontal arcs to clear hordes, you're going to be much more efficient while clearing hordes just across the board. This is... you usually see, Reinhardt players doing this in Overwatch, because... Reinhardt gets a lot of use out of this. He will left click, and then you'll just kind of see them 360 swing, because it'll hit literally everything in their path. So when you're fighting, especially true solo, horde clear is very important. So if you would have been doing that, you would have caught this guy right here, and you wouldn't have gotten stuck. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Working more pushes. Already, I can see you're not really working in a lot of pushes, and to be fair, you are playing champion, so you don't need to. You can just pretty much kill things through left-click spam, but it is a good habit to build by pushing a lot more, because when you start getting into Legend and you start getting into, I almost said Assassin, because I saw the Disabler spawn, but when you start getting into Legend and Cataclysm, you're going to need to work a lot more of pushes into your attacks. And was that Ogret silent? Hold up. That hook rat was completely silent. Holy shit. That was a good save. I did not, yeah, I did not hear that assassin at all. That is also a reason why I'm not the biggest fan of true solos, because sound breaking like that's kind of RNG. But that was a good save on your part. I keep hitting my mic, damn it. The other thing I was going to say, I would actually recommend running, instead of Radiant Inheritance, I would run Incandescence, because that extra ult is going to be really, really nice. Like, that extra ult charge can actually be a lifesaver in some cases, because sometimes you need to ult twice in fast succession. And especially if you're running, like, Blood Razor Thicket, where you're running an actual wall, you can, like, double wall off something, like right here. You can double wall off something and buy yourself some time. Like I said, having an actual wall in true solo is not bad, because you don't have to worry about screwing everyone over. It's just you. So, like, if you're in at this situation and you take a couple of hits and you're like, oh crap, I need to take a break, you could, you know, wall one real quickly and then immediately snap and wall the other. And now all of a sudden the entire horde is trapped over here, and you have a couple of seconds to heal, drink a potion, get a bomb, back up, look for specials. So personally, I think in my true solo I ran Blood Razor Thicket, and I would actually recommend in true solos running Black Venom Thicket. I would actually recommend running Black Venom Thicket instead of Blood Razor on true solo, simply for that wall value that you can use to save yourself, as well as the extra damage and the stagger, because Black Venom actually offers a bit of stagger, so it's basically just a delayed shout. And especially, and I'll say it again for those in the back, especially against Beastmen, you gotta push often. You gotta push often, yeah, because you're just gonna eat random hits like that. Beastmen are buggy, so you gotta be pushing a lot more. Good, you always want to tag specials. Yeah, honestly, you don't have to rush killing the leech here, because leeches are super easy to dodge. Leeches are incredibly easy to dodge, so if you don't feel the pressure to or the need to kill a leech as ASAP, you can definitely just leave the leech alive as you dodge the the horde, because it is super obvious when the leech is going to grab you. I think someone on my video, I think it was Lassamore, said that you can actually dodge into the leech and still dodge the projectile. So yeah, you were kind of I think you were kind of panicking right there, which made you miss a few attacks, made you get hit a few times. You could have just ignored that leech until you cleared out the horde, honestly. Yeah, the spawns up here would also be crazy on higher difficulties, but because this is champion, it's not as much of a problem. But once more, you would have to be playing this a lot differently. Although the archers here do suck. Yeah, this is why I hate Beastmen in true solo, and to be honest with you, sometimes depending on how many archers I get, I will just reset the run. There was one time where I was doing someone's true solo build. I don't remember which one it was, but I was doing on the pit, I think. And I went to one of these open areas, and there was legitimately about 30 archers in there, and I just ult F4'd because I did not want to deal with that. It's a very good thing that you're waiting in this very open field for these specials. There's no reason to push forward here. Just let the specials come to you, which is very good. You have a wide open area around you, which allows you just to pan in a 360 and see specials coming at you from all directions, which is very good. Stacking Moonbow against Chaos Warriors is also the best way to run it. I think that's Barrage or Hunter. I think Hunter's technically better on the Moonbow. I don't remember the differences in the icons between Hunter and Barrage, but both are good. You're also running Barskin, which is basically a necessity. Which is basically a necessity for true solo. Once more, very good. Just kind of waiting for the specials, not really pushing up, just waiting for the disablers to die before doing anything. With those Archers, though, I would just walk away and ignore them. Like, archers will eventually start coming to you, given enough time. So you don't have to, like, lose your mind over archers. Just walk away, put some things in between you and them, and they'll start walking to you. And then you can just, like, turn the corner and shoot them if you need to. Hold up, I'm gonna watch this horde again. Starting from here. So you are, remember, I don't know how many of you have watched my very, very first video. But something that I say in the how to solo hordes video is you need to kind of keep the hordes corralled and not let them get out of hand. Right there, I'm just gonna use this. You had a bunch of the horde right here. But you also had a little bit of this horde trying to come around you. And, you know, like a couple of stragglers here trying to hit you. And your attention was focused over here. In that situation, you definitely want to just ignore this and turn to the right, deal with the stragglers, and then come back to the left. Excuse me. Because all it takes is one guy to sneak his way around you, block you, catch you off guard, and at that point you're just done. You're going, especially if you're playing on like Cataclysm and there's, you know, like berserkers in this wave or a bunch of armored. All it takes is just one guy sneaking around and blocking you to ruin your momentum and get you cornered and kill you. So you definitely need to be turning to your right and left more and killing any stragglers you see, or killing those who are kind of like moving out of the horde, because you need to keep the horde as closely condensed as possible and letting them kind of like get so spread out that you have something to your left, far left, something to your far right, something directly in front of you. Oh crap, is there something behind me? That's not good, because you're just asking to get surrounded at that point. See, this is a better time to kill the archers, since there's nothing around you. You just killed things. They came to you. And you also have those trees you could technically use as cover. I said it before and I'll say it again. You gotta push a lot more, because you're eating a lot of hits that you could avoid if you just walked up and pushed instead of, you know, started attacking immediately. Pushing, you should basically be pushing, especially with a weapon like Sword and Dagger that uses less stamina than other weapons. Pushing should be as natural and as common for you than dodging. Because I see your dodge dancing a lot. Ooh, you sandwiched yourself perfectly. That's what I'm talking about. You sandwiched yourself perfectly into this horde. I know I was on another tangent, but give me a second, I'll go back to that. You kind of tunnel visioned on this one guy, and these two dudes started running to your left, and then some other guys came up to your left, which completely just sandwiched you into a pile of basically, you sandwiched yourself right here, and you definitely don't want to do that. You don't want to tunnel vision on one thing, especially just a common enemy. So you definitely want to, and once more, that would have been solved just by like pushing a little bit. Because if you would have staggered those guys to your left, that would have given you time to kill them and then kill the guys to your right. So, yeah, push a lot more, have a little more spatial awareness, especially when you're walking up to groups like that. This section is a little more RNG heavy, depending on what monster you get. Did you miss, or did that phase through him? Oh, you just straight up missed. Well, it feels bad, man. See, look at that damage. That's why we love Moonbow. See, you got that was a little bit luck based on your side, because you got an easy boss as compared to, you know, a hard boss or a time-consuming boss like the troll. I actually would encourage you to take some time up there, honestly, because you have a really good vantage point right here. And you can see out this entire field, dude. You have vision across this entire field. I would recommend just planting your feet down there, sending, you know, like planting your feet right here and sending a Moonbow to this group, sending a Moonbow to this group, sending a Moonbow to this group, and sending a Moonbow to this group, and just letting them all come to you, and then killing them as they climb up. Because, remember, when an enemy is in a climbing animation, they are considered to be in stage 2 stagger for their entire animation, so you're going to be doing a lot more damage against them. So all this does is it opens up the field for you and allows you to kill them in a much more efficient and a faster, more efficient, and safer way is what I was trying to say. So yeah, don't be afraid to just like stand up here and snipe. Listen, remember, you are alone, so you need to go at your own pace. And it does kind of seem like from this entire thing that you're rushing a little bit, which you don't, it's definitely a good thing in true solos to have, you know, a pace that you want to stick to, because you want to prevent things from spawning as much as possible. And you don't want to lag behind too much, but you also don't want to go too fast. It's trying to find that perfect balance. Once more, I would just ignore the archers here. I would just push forward. Let them come to you. I'm noticing that he's getting pretty lucky with spawns a lot. I haven't played Champion, admittedly, in a long time, but it just seems like the Champion spawns are a lot less from what I remember. I don't know if that's just, I don't know if they reduced the spawns in Champion, or if I'm just misremembering, but there just seems to be a lot less spawns in Champion overall than, like, Legend. I know that the lower difficulty means there is going to be, you know, a lower spawns in general, but it just seems a lot less from what I remember. Once more, just leave those archers, dude. Let them come to you. Especially when you're running an inaccurate long-range weapon like Moonbow. Just, like, come up here and let them come to you, and then you can kill them. Good. I was actually about to comment that you don't want to put your back up against there, but you pushed through that section because enemies can pretty much drop at you from every direction, or they can come at you from every single direction in there. So you don't want to hold out in there. You want to get out of there as fast as possible. You either want to pull back or you want to do what you did and push ahead here. Once more, it's... Ooh. Good save there. There, I wouldn't have blamed you if you had just ulted him. Once more, I'll say it. Risking sounding like a broken record, I'll say it again. You gotta work in more pushes. That would have allowed you to keep control of the Beastman Horde a lot more easily. Yeah, there's two healing potions, so you can just pop the healing potion and go. It's like he heard me. You don't really have to... With Moonbow, you don't have to aim for headshots, really. Yeah, of course it helps and it does more damage overall, but, like, especially with how high the tick rate is, the dot damage is for Moonbow, there's no reason for you to aim for headshots. You can just go for body shots. That extra damage doesn't really matter on Moonbow. Another thing here, I would also recommend kind of waiting up here a little bit. Yeah, I would definitely wait up here and let the initial horde come through. Because at the very least, you force enemies... Ooh, that's unfortunate. The momentum of the enemy sent him flying when he tried to jump. That's sad. But it's definitely a good idea to wait up there. Because at the very least, you can let all of the enemies climb up. And then you can turn around and drop down and make them go through a climb up and drop down animation, which buys you a little bit of time. I wouldn't recommend, though, holding out in this situation. Basically, a true solo champion run doesn't matter as much just in the long run because the spawns are so low from what I'm noticing. But, like, which is why I'm saying, if, you know, for champion it doesn't matter, but for higher difficulties, I wouldn't do this or I would do this. But I would personally not hold in this area. specifically because in higher difficulties, the enemies, if you're holding out in this area, enemies will come at you from this direction, and they'll come at you from behind. They will 100% try to circle you, and especially on Legend and Cataclysm, there are too many enemies for you to deal with unless, you know, you're playing someone who can specifically deal with a shit ton of enemies at once, or you're playing a tanky character. And other than this box, honestly, this area I know is super, super finicky with invisible walls and where you can jump. I don't even know if you can jump over this box. There might be an invisible wall right here that prevents you from jumping over. So other than the possibility of this box, there is no other way to get out of this area than walking out the front right here. So I would not recommend holding in this area. This is definitely not a good area to hold in. Which is why I would just dance on the balcony upstairs, or the scaffolding right there. I would just try to dance there as much as you can. And then, there. I would dance on the balcony as much as you can over here. And then when things start getting too hairy, drop down onto like this plank, onto these planks, fight a little bit on the planks, and then drop down again when you're ready to drop down. That way, you force enemies to go up one climbing animation, then the second, then you force them to go down on a third drop down animation onto these planks, and then finally a fourth drop down animation onto the ground. So you cause enemies to go through 4 total animations, which buys you a lot of time. You could honestly, and at this point, you could probably just run and trigger the event. Leave it. You don't know where it is, leave it. If you don't know where a Blightstormer is and you can't pinpoint him exactly, you just want to leave it. Just start putting distance between you and the Blightstormer. Because with True Solo, you basically only have a couple of seconds to pinpoint and begin shooting at the Blightstormer. And if you don't get it in a few seconds, it's better to leave and just let him come to you later on than trying to search for him and putting yourself further at risk. Same thing with like a Rattling Gunner. If you don't know where a Rattling Gunner is, it's better just to leave and go to a more safe area than just sitting around and waiting for him to show himself. You could honestly probably just drop right here. There's not a lot. Yeah, like the spawns here are pretty much done. There's not a lot going on, so you could definitely start pushing here. You didn't need to kill everything, because right here is going to just be... This event is infinitely spawning enemies until you reach the final stage. So there was no reason for you to hold out that long. You could have just dropped and went. Also, I want to talk about those gas rats. So, fun fact about the special system in Vermintide, every single special that spawns takes up kind of a slot. And depending on the difficulty that you're playing at, there are only so many special slots that exist at any given time. I don't remember what it is specifically for Champion, but for example's sake, we're just going to say 4. So at any given point, there can only be 4 specials up on the map at any given time. So it goes just by, okay, there are 4 slots, and right now the game would say, okay, there are 2 gas rat spawns, so which means that's 1, 2. So that's 2 special slots that are taken. Now, of course, every single special has a max cap that can spawn at once, so I think it's 2 across the board, so you can't have more than 2 of the same special, period, end of story, unless you're playing on Cataclysm, to which I think that's raised to 3. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that if you left these 2 gas rats alive, you would have significantly diminished the chance of you getting another disabler or more deadly special, which would have caused more issues in the first place. Because technically right now, you have the gas rat for your first one, you have the second gas rat for your second one, and then you have the Blightstormer for your third. So you know already 3 specials up. And at that point, you would know, okay, there's only 1 more special spawn. And it's like, okay, so I've basically just reduced the chance of getting a disabler by 75% because nothing can spawn in these slots now. And of course, like the Blightstormer, is there an undo button? Yeah. Of course, the Blightstormer, oh shit. Okay, good. Of course, the Blightstormer, is a lot more deadly than the gas rat, so you would kill it and you would open up another special slot, but that's still really good because you're reducing the chance of getting a disabler by 50% instead of 75%. So, right here, the gas rats aren't going to be that deadly to you. Gas rats just aren't that deadly to begin with when you have bark skin, especially on lower difficulties. So it's a better idea to leave them alive, especially if you have the room to push, and just leave them alive and ignore them, and let them take up the special slots, so you can prevent yourself from getting, spammed with disablers or rattling gunners or Blightstormers and whatnot. So yeah. I would have said just walk... the point that I'm trying to make is you should have just walked past them and left them alive. Yeah, here, you can pretty much just hold W through it. Assassin spawned. I heard the assassin. I didn't hear him to my left or to my right, which probably means he's either directly above us or in front of us. And he happened to be in front of us. In these kind of push events where you have an infinitely spawning horde and you just need to push as fast as possible, it's a lot better. These are the parts that you want to speedrun. Of course, I don't mean throw caution to the wind and just hold W no matter what you're doing and then die because you went too fast. That's not what I mean. You definitely do want to, take a little bit of pause if you need it. If a couple of disablers spawn, stop to take care of them and then continue. But like right here, you're just kind of wasting time fighting these guys. Because all that's happening is you're stopping, fighting a horde for like a minute, killing them all, moving 10 feet, then stopping, then killing the horde, then moving 10 feet, then stopping, then killing the horde. If you had just kept going, you would have saved a lot more time, and you would prevent specials from spawning. Because, of course, the longer that you take, the more specials spawn, and the more chance you have to get spammed with 3 assassins and die. This room doesn't spawn anything, usually, so there's really no point to check this room. You do have that upper area, though, which can be helpful. But right here, the problem is they will they will surround you, which is why you definitely want to be careful with that upper area. You usually don't even want to go into that room or go into that upper area unless you are in desperate need of time to, do something. Otherwise, that upper area is just more of a detriment than a boon. Good, just trying to get away from the hook rat. I would just ult him. That also works though. See, right there, I just would have ulted. Just got rid of him. Come on, you can get it. Assassin. See, these are the times when I would say it's a lot more acceptable and okay. Excuse me. It's a lot more acceptable and a lot more okay to actually kind of hole up because there's a disabler somewhere where you don't know. So this is a really good spot to go into, considering that, because the assassin can only come at you from one direction, and that's in front of you. So by sitting here, you limit the areas that the assassin can blindside you from, or any disabler at all, and it allows you to kind of keep a much better read on the situation. So I like that. But of course, eventually, sometimes... the ladder, dude. Oh, I guess I'll give a tip for ladders. If you're climbing ladders, don't press space. Just look up, look straight up, and go. Because if you press space, you're gonna jump backwards. Oh my god, that canceled your drinking animation. You didn't need to drink the potion that early. I mean, once more, it's champion, so it doesn't really matter. But you didn't need to drink that potion that early. You could have waited a little bit and drink it. And on right here, just dodge dance at the portal. Yeah, the portal's right there. There's really no reason. There's really no reason right here to fight these enemies right here. There's my god, I cannot talk today. There's no reason to fight these enemies right here because the portal is right here. So you should just take out your melee weapon, block, and dodge dance your way to the portal. End of story. Because if this was a legend or a cataclysm, that might have killed you. That one swipe from that axe might have been the death of you right there. And like right here, there's no reason to fight this. The portal's right there. Even in like, yeah, there's no reason to fight things in front of the portal, even with teammates, because the portal's right there. But yeah, with that is the end. I do know that he had a couple of things with it. So he said, my main questions are about the movement and positioning. So was it good and how and when I moved, or would it be better to do it otherwise and why? And then what I realized that a lot of my hits against hordes are empty hits, so I'm fighting hordes. The density isn't that high, and I just have misses in my attack sequences. What can I do against that? Because it does get a little bit annoying, and it's lost damage potential. Okay. Going with your second point first. From what I could tell a lot of the times, because I did notice that a few times, but from what I noticed a lot of the times was the phantom hits that you were getting weren't actually phantom hits. You were just too far away. So like if this was you, wait, actually, can I get to a black screen to make this a lot easier to show off? Haha, perfect. So if this was you, right here, this is the little elf with elf ears and a frowny face because she's an elf and she hates everyone. And this is the enemies that you're fighting. Your basically attack arc that you'll hit enemies is basically like right here-ish. Of course, this is all basically to scale. This is not to scale. This is just an example drawing. Your attack arc is right here, so anything outside is going to miss. And the enemies that you were trying to attack, a lot of the times that you missed were like right here. It was just barely out of your attack reach. So all I got to say to that is just move forward a little bit. Just move forward a little bit. And that attack arc will then just, barely nick them and will hit them and it'll allow you to kill them. So yeah, move closer to your enemies a lot of the times. Because it did look like you were afraid a lot of the times to push in. Because, you would have your horde all right here. And then, you would be like back here. Trying to fight. At reach when you don't have a reach weapon with sword and dagger. I mean, if you were running like Tusk or Spear, or you had like two-handed hammer, you could have pulled that off. You could have pulled that off a little better, or halberd. But you're running with sword and dagger, which is not a long-range weapon, so you gotta be a little closer to the horde in order to hit them more frequently. And then the other thing was the positioning, right? Yeah. So I think I said it throughout the video a lot. There are. What did I say throughout the video a lot? It's been a long week, y'all. I pointed out the specific areas that it wasn't good to hold in, especially at that ending point. I mentioned where it was good to hold out, where it wasn't good to hold out. But for the most part, I think your positioning was fine. I do think that, like right here, like right back here, the hill, like it's a good thing that you were at this like little crevasse, it's not a crevasse, this little wall right here, putting your back to it. That was good. The hill is an awful place to hold out. Don't hold out on the hill because the enemies don't have to go through a climbing animation. Up the hill right here, they can just simply walk up, and that's really, really bad. So putting your back against this wall was really good. None of this really matters. Right here, holding out is good because it gives you enough things to. It gives you time to see where the disablers are coming from, and it also gives you room to dodge dance the horde. So this is a good area to hold out in. I would have recommended holding out up top on this like little balcony area right there. I would have held out right here at first to clear everything and make it easier and safer for yourself. Of course, right here, I commended you for pushing up instead of sticking in this like little valley area, because this valley area gets very, very deadly very, very fast. So that was good, and then don't hold out here. Don't hold out here. You want to hold out up here, and then drop down, and then just kind of like kite around the outside. But yeah, other than that, that was a good run. Once more, thank you to... forgot the name. jtcLIVE for submitting your gameplay review. I appreciate it, dude. And if you want to submit your own gameplays for review, make sure to check out the Discord link down below, and then check out the gameplay... what is it called? The gameplay review submission channel, and you can submit your videos in there while following the instructions.